The year is 2124. Humanity reached for time. It grasped too much. Reality fractured, became thin. Time travel was now a scar, a forbidden memory, a dangerous echo in the ruins of what was. Cairo Ren was 16, a mind like a supernova, bright, uncontrollable. He saw connections others missed, built machines from scraps and dreams, yet he was adrift, alone. His brilliance set him apart. In a world afraid of progress, he yearned for it. One rainy afternoon, he found it, an old shop filled with forgotten things, a strange pull, a whisper only he could hear. Tucked away beneath a faded map lay a pocket watch. Its metal was cold, ancient. It felt like destiny. He took it home. The watch ticked softly, out of sync with the world. Time had obeyed him. Cairo felt a strange thrill and a deep, cold fear. He had a secret, a dangerous power. He started small, tiny jumps, a spilled glass of water, now upright, a missed hover bus, now caught with ease. Each use was a test. The watch answered with a silent twist of reality. The world around him began to change. Subtle things at first. Only he noticed. A book on his shelf, now a different color. A street sign he knew, now slightly altered. His own reflection seemed different. Memories flickered, like a faulty projector. He felt a growing unease, a dissonance. This was not just power. It was change. The implications were enormous. The world was a canvas, and he held a strange brush. The ripples spread, wider now. Cairo thought he was the only one who saw, the only one who remembered. But the changes were not just in his head. They were real, tangible, frightening. His small alterations were not so small. They were seeds, and they were growing. The world was slowly, silently coming apart. He started noticing bigger shifts, more alarming. Street names changed entirely, not just altered. Buildings he knew now wore different facades. Sometimes they were not there at all. History holodocs showed different events, small details, then larger ones. The past was not fixed. It was fluid, and he was making it so, unmaking it so. His few friends, they were changing too. Their memories of shared events diverged from his. He was becoming an island, a ghost in their lives. Then they appeared, out of the shadows, figures in dark, severe clothing. Their faces were hidden, their movements precise. They watched him, from rooftops, from alleyways. They were the Hour Guard, protectors of the flow, or so the street whispers claimed. Few had ever seen them, until now. Their presence was a chilling omen. Their mission was singular, absolute, to monitor the timeline, to correct anomalies, to enforce the ancient, desperate ban on time travel. They had felt the tremors Cairo caused, the ripples in the fabric of what should be. Cairo's watch was more than an anomaly. It was a beacon, a screaming siren in the quiet of time. The Hour Guard cornered him, not with violence, not at first. They spoke, their voices were cold, calculated, and devoid of any empathy. They explained the nature of his device, a relic from a time long forgotten. It was not merely a time-altering watch. It was something far more dangerous. It was a chrono code, a forbidden name, a key to unmaking, a shard of disaster, a relic that should never have existed. Its existence was a crime against reality itself, a blasphemy against the natural order. Cairo listened, his heart a frozen stone, his mind racing with the implications. His chrono code was one of seven such artifacts, scattered, hidden, each one a piece of a larger, more terrifying puzzle. Each a relic from a timeline that had died, or a timeline that should never have been born, or a timeline that should never have been born. They were echoes of impossible futures, paradoxes made solid, made powerful, each one a splinter in the hand of existence, each one a splinter in the hand of existence, each one a potential end, each one a potential end, or a new terrible beginning, or a new terrible beginning. These 7 codes, they said, were the cause. These 7 codes, they said, were the cause. The reason reality had broken, long ago their combined power or misuse shattered the timeline. Long ago their combined power or misuse shattered the timeline. Created the fragile present Cairo knew, Now they were resurfacing, being found. Their reawakening threatened another cataclysm. A disaster that could unmake reality once more. The others began to emerge, one by one. From the shadows, they stepped into the light, their faces a mix of determination and uncertainty. 6 more teenagers, young, confused, powerful. Each one carried a unique aura, a sense of untapped potential that hinted at the extraordinary abilities they possessed. Each clutched their own chrono code. These devices, glowing with an otherworldly light, were the keys to their power. A glinting compass that spun wildly. It seemed to have a mind of its own, pointing to places and times unknown. A locket that whispered forgotten names. The voices were faint, like echoes from a distant past, calling out to be remembered. A data chip that pulsed with corrupt code. It held secrets, perhaps dangerous, from a future that might never come to pass. A fractured lens that showed what might have been. Through its cracks, glimpses of alternate realities flickered, each more surreal than the last. Each device was a unique key to a different temporal lock. They were not just tools, but extensions of their very beings. They came from disparate realities, impossible pasts, each one a fragment of a timeline that defied the conventional flow of history. Worlds born from choices Cairo could not imagine. Realities shaped by decisions that branched off into the unknown. A girl from a timeline where nature had reclaimed the cities. Vines and trees grew over skyscrapers, turning urban landscapes into verdant jungles. A boy from a future of perpetual sterile peace. A world where conflict was a distant memory and harmony reigned supreme. Another from a reality ravaged by endless war. The scars of battle were etched into the very fabric of his existence. Each carried the ghost of their lost home. Memories of places and people that no longer existed haunted their every step. Their eyes reflected worlds that no longer were, or perhaps worlds that fought to be again. The past and future intertwined in their gaze, or perhaps worlds that fought to be again. Their determination was palpable, a burning desire to set things right. Their chrono codes were not identical in function. Some could freeze moments, others could glimpse futures. Each power was a piece of the puzzle. One could swap objects across time streams. A simple touch could alter the course of history. Cairo's rewind was just one facet of a larger, shattered power, a fragment of a grander design that spanned the ages. Together, their abilities were terrifying, a force that could reshape reality itself, a symphony of temporal manipulation, each note a different power, harmonizing to create something greater than the sum of its parts, a discordant orchestra playing with the strands of fate. Their actions would echo through time, altering destinies in ways they could not yet comprehend. Their convergence acted as a catalyst. 7 chrono codes vibrating in proximity. The strain on the already fragile reality intensified. Timelines began to actively bleed into one another. No longer subtle shifts, now overt ruptures. The world became a waking dream, a nightmare. The laws of physics seemed to stutter, to break. It was the beginning of the end. Buildings flickered, one moment a skyscraper, the next ancient ruins. Then something else entirely, unrecognizable. People from different eras walked the streets, confused, lost. Roman legionaries alongside Victorian ladies, cavemen staring at flying vehicles. The sky itself seemed to crack, showing glimpses of other worlds. Other times, swirling colors, impossible geometries. The air hummed with an unnatural energy. Reality was screaming. Each of the 7 teens held a different vision, a different desire for what the future should be. Some yearned to restore their own lost timelines, to undo the tragedies that had unmade their homes. Cairo watched the devastation unfold. His city, his world, tearing itself apart. He saw the fear in people's eyes, the confusion. This was the result of his actions, his choices, and the choices of the other 6. The power they wielded was not a toy. It was a fire, and it was burning everything. Guilt was a heavy cloak, suffocating him. The chrono codes offered such terrible agency, the power to erase, to rewrite, to create anew, to play God with the seconds and centuries. But who were they to decide? 7 teenagers, lost, scared, angry, each with their own pain, their own desires. The decision point was rushing towards them, faster than they could have ever anticipated. Every second felt like an eternity, yet it was slipping away too quickly. Cairo knew he had to choose. They all did. The weight of the world, no, the weight of countless worlds pressed down on his shoulders. The fate of not just one timeline, but all potential timelines hung in the balance. Every possible future, every conceivable past was at stake. His chrono code felt heavy in his hand. It was more than just an object. It was a symbol of hope, of power, and of the immense responsibility he bore. A key, a weapon, a responsibility. It was all these things and more, a beacon in the darkness, a light that could either save or destroy. The world outside was a symphony of collapsing realities. Time itself was unraveling, stitch by painful stitch, each thread a memory, a life, a universe. There was very little time left. The clock was ticking, each second a reminder of the urgency of their mission. Could the seven of them ever reach a consensus? Their voices clashed, each argument a reflection of their fears and hopes. Their backgrounds were too different, their losses too raw. Each one carried scars, both seen and unseen, that influenced their decisions. Their hopes for the future pointed in wildly different directions. Dreams that once seemed aligned now diverged into chaos. Would their conflicting desires become the final catalyst? The spark that ignited the end of everything they knew? The force that tore existence apart for good? The ultimate destruction that would leave nothing but void in its wake? Or could they find common ground? A shared purpose? Could they unite their fragmented hopes into a single powerful force? A sliver of hope in the overwhelming darkness? The alternative was oblivion, a future where nothing remained. For everyone, everywhere, every life, every soul hung in the balance of their decision. The Hour Guard offered their own stark solution, a final, terrible option that could end the chaos. Total erasure of the Chrono codes, a drastic measure that would erase not just the codes, but the very essence of their wielders, and by necessity their wielders. A sacrifice that would cauterize the wounds of time, but at what cost? A sacrifice to cauterize the wounds of time, to heal the fractures that threaten to tear reality apart, to perhaps allow a single stable timeline to re-emerge, a timeline where peace could finally be achieved. Was this the only way? Annihilation for salvation? A bitter pill, a desperate gamble. The stakes had never been higher. The final tick of the cosmic clock approached, each second a heartbeat, a countdown to the end. A decision must be made, now. The future of everything depended on it.